Today's news highlights 20250811. Date August 11, 2025. Republic of China August 11, 114. Time cutoff, 1500 hours on the same day. News focus: due to busy and refined diets, fatty liver and hyperglycemia are common, and may increase the risk of liver cancer. Traditional Chinese medicine practitioner Luo Pailan suggests that by massaging ear points such as antihypertensive grooves, pancreatic points, liver points, and endocrine points, blood pressure, blood sugar, and blood lipids can be adjusted, and the liver can be maintained. In addition, it is recommended to nourish qi and nourish the liver tea and reduce fat and clear the liver tea, which are suitable for healthy carriers and those with high liver index, respectively. You can also eat mung bean yam chicken soup every day, which has the effect of clearing away heat, detoxifying, repairing the liver, and helping to prevent metabolic syndrome and liver disease. News focus: Gu Tingyu, a 26-year-old nurse, started exercising at the age of 19 due to weight loss, losing weight from 80 kilograms to 55 kilograms, and cultivated an interest in participating in bodybuilding competitions. As a nurse in the operating room, she can stand for long periods of time and carry patients without injury through weight training and correct posture. Maintain a strict work and rest for the competition, train for 2 hours a day, walk 10,000 steps, eat a high-protein and low-starch diet and measure accurately. This year, she won the 4th place in the rookie women's bikini category of the national bodybuilding competition, and her fitness habits have also driven her family and colleagues to exercise together to improve her physical fitness and health. News focus: the reciprocal tariffs signed by U.S. President Trump took effect on August 7, and the outcome of the Taiwan-US auto tariff negotiations has not yet been determined, but the market expects that U.S. car import tariffs may drop sharply or even return to zero, causing consumers to delay car purchases and the explosion of new cars imports. In addition to the 17.5% tariff on imported cars, there is also a 25 to 30% excise tax and a 5% business tax, and the tariff only accounts for 10% of the car price. Even if it is reduced to zero, the reduction is limited and does not necessarily reflect the selling price. Non-US car manufacturers may strive for equal treatment, and the probability of a sharp drop in all imported car prices in the short term is low, and the final impact still needs to be fermented through negotiations and market adjustments. News focus: in recent years, the confrontation between the United States and China has intensified, and the outside world predicts that 2027 will be the peak of the Taiwan Strait crisis, but Chi Lai, a researcher at the National Defense Academy, pointed out that the PLA's 2027 goal is to improve infrastructure such as joint operations and intelligence, and not to use foreign troops, and the real high-risk point may be in 2035. The Information Support Force established in 2024 will take about 10 years to build a military-wide shared network information system before it can have a stronger ability to invade Taiwan. However, whether a conflict breaks out still depends on political decision-making, Taiwan's defense readiness and the international situation. At present, the United States and China are strengthening their strategic layout in the Indo-Pacific, focusing on the first island chain. News focus: in the first half of 2025, the transaction volume of Taiwan's housing market hit a new low in nearly 10 years, with Shuangbei, Hsinchu, Kaohsiung, and other places shrinking by more than 25% compared with the same period last year, while the stock of new and old houses for sale surged by 18.7% and 25.4% respectively, intensifying the imbalance between supply and demand. The freezing of transactions and the tightening of financing have increased the risk of capital breakage and unfinished buildings of small and medium-sized real estate enterprises. After the end of the grace period for youth mortgages, there may be a wave of decapitation. The external economic slowdown and global financial uncertainty further weakened the support. Experts suggest that the policy should shift from suppressing demand to promoting healthy supply, loosening the bondage of rigid loans, accelerating the risk of aging in the capital, setting up a risk firewall for builders and establishing an early warning mechanism for the housing market to avoid the worsening of the crisis. News focus: Wilson, chief U.S. stock strategist at Morgan Stanley, said that the bear market in U.S. stocks after the sell-off in April has ended, and a new round of bull market has started, which is still in its early stages, and investors are advised to take advantage of the dip. He believes that the United States has been in a rolling recession for the past 3 years, which ended in April due to tariff shocks. The S&P 500 rebounded about 30% from its lows to a new high, rising nearly 9% this year. Wilson expects the third quarter to slow down, which will be a good opportunity to increase weight. However, Interactive Brokers strategist Sosnick warned that the market is at high risk of catching a falling knife, which may lead to trapping. News focus: TSMC received a U.S. semiconductor tariff exemption to encourage Taiwan stocks to hit 24,000 points, but the superimposed calculation of Taiwan-US reciprocal tariffs may suppress market sentiment, and the short-term impact on the production of machine tools, plastics, textiles, bicycles and other products will be greater. Experts believe that as long as the 4 major weakening indicators do not appear, including the explosive long black, the loss of the 5-day line, the fall below the gap of 23,557 points and the number of gainers continue to lag behind, the structure of the market will remain unchanged. U.S. stocks rebounded, AI and semiconductor groups led the gains, and supply chains such as servers, heat dissipation, PCBs, raw materials, and financial stocks are expected to become the mainstream of follow-up tackling. News focus: Tesla introduced lightweight material PEEK to the humanoid robot Optimus to replace steel and aluminum, significantly reducing weight and improving endurance and stability, triggering a global robot slimming wave. PEEK concept stocks in mainland China and Taiwan have benefited sharply, and Taiwanese factories Alliance, Shanghai, Knight, and Bangtai have all been laid out. PEEK is considered the best substitute for metal due to its high strength and light weight, and is widely used in aerospace, automotive, semiconductor, medical and other fields. If humanoid robots are fully adopted, the demand will far exceed existing applications, and Tesla's target annual production of 1 million units requires 10,000 metric tons of PEEK, which is much higher than the global production capacity of less than 20,000 metric tons. News focus: TSMC will hold a board meeting at the Southern Science and Technology plant this week, and the outside world is concerned about the follow-up to the 2nm leak case, the progress of investment in the U.S. factory and the rumors of Intel's shareholding. Although Chairman Wei Zhijia has denied the shareholding plan, Trump's recent request for Intel CEO to step down has once again sparked market speculation. Lu Jingqing, chairman of the National Development Council, said that the board of directors did not include it in the agenda of increasing U.S. investment. The meeting is expected to explain the situation of the 2nm leak case and approve the cash dividend per share for the second quarter, which is estimated by the market to be no less than 5 yuan. The 2nm process is expected to be mass-produced in the second half of the year, and related developments have attracted much attention. News focus: after Jason, a 9-year-old boy from Hsinchu, participated in a football match, the coach did not pick him up personally, and the parents surnamed Su drove him back and crashed into the separation island on the way back, and died of serious injuries because he did not wear a seat belt. Su Nan was only willing to pay 3 million yuan, and the mediation broke down, and he was sentenced to 8 months in prison in the first trial and suspended for 3 years, on the grounds that serving the sentence might affect the mediation, and the Queen Mother was dissatisfied with the appeal. The lawyer said that the compensation was obviously insufficient, and the family could file an attached civil lawsuit for compensation. The case sparked controversy over traffic safety and judicial judgments, drawing attention to the use and liability of seat belts. News focus: in July last year, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force frigate Lianjiao mistakenly broke into the territorial waters off the coast of China's Zhejiang province for about 20 minutes, and the People's Liberation Army fired 2 shells as a warning, causing tension between the two sides. The shooting warning was rare, and if it hit, it would be Japan's first involvement in a military conflict since World War II. The cause of the accident was an error in switching the navigation electronic chart of the Lianjiao. After the incident was exposed, the captain was replaced in September last year, highlighting the escalation of tensions in the waters between China and Japan. News focus: after Liz, a 36-year-old well-known beauty blogger, was silent for more than 2 months, her husband confirmed through her IG on the 10th that she had passed away quietly, and the cause of death was not disclosed, shocking more than 100,000 fans. Lychee started as an unknown station with more than 400,000 followers, and her husband described her as always smiling, full of love and creativity, and treating fans as friends. The husband said that although Lychee left, the beauty and love left behind will last forever, and the IG account will be retained as a place of remembrance for fans. News focus: this year's number 11 typhoon Yangliu continues to increase in intensity, and it is expected to issue a maritime warning late at night today, 11th, and a land warning tomorrow, which may make landfall from Hualien and cross Taiwan on Wednesday, 13th. According to the latest forecast of the Central Meteorological Administration, the probability of storm invasion in 9 counties and cities, including Zhonghua, Nantou, and Yunlin, exceeds 80%, Taichung, Hualien, and Kaohsiung exceed 70%, and the north is about 30%. News focus: Miili legislator Chu Zhenjun criticized renewable energy and clouded leopard energy, and was refuted by Li Pina for knowingly spending money to support me. Miili County Councillor Zhang Wengxiu recently counterattacked, pointing out that Chu Tai criticized and privately held shares, and was the only member of the Legislative Yuan who held clouded leopard shares, holding about 5,000 shares and more than 1 million shares. He clarified that he had been questioned by Chu about accepting improper political donations, emphasizing that all donations were declared in accordance with the law, and that the balance of the 2024 election campaign was minus 1.2 million unreceived clouded leopard donations. Zhang Wengxiu also said that he had promoted the 3-stage review mechanism of Miili Optoelectronics and called on Chu to focus on supervising local corruption and chaos and not to shift the focus. News focus: former anchor Sui Lanping suffered from cerebral edema and was in a coma for 60 hours due to the challenge of climbing Mount Everest in May this year, and was recently exposed by the media for sexually harassing a male osteopath. The osteopath accused Sui Lanping of asking to press the groin a cup ointment to help dredge the qi and blood, during which Sui Lanping had an erection on the spot for 20 minutes, which embarrassed the osteopath and his wife. Subsequently, Sui asked for a massage at the same a cup ointment, but after being refused, he insulted the female guest. Sui Lanping responded to the accusation without knowing anything, emphasizing that he had never sexually harassed or abused others, believing that the accusations had hurt him greatly. In June this year, he revealed that he had received traditional Chinese medicine treatment due to physical congestion and regained patency. News Focus: The Japan-Taiwan Exchange Association issued a rare announcement reminding tourists that pickpocketing cases in Taiwan's night markets and Zhuangbei attractions are frequent, calling on tourists to be vigilant and pay attention to the custody of valuables. The announcement pointed out that Zhufen, Yongkang Street, and MRT Zhongshan Station are high-incidence areas, which sparked heated discussions among netizens. Some shared their experience of being pickpocketed and criticized public security, while others questioned whether the announcement was a routine reminder or reflected a long-term problem. The announcement was issued once at the end of January, indicating that the problem of pickpocketing persists. News Focus: The Central Meteorological Administration said that the high temperature in Taiwan is 31 to 35 degrees, and the local area in Greater Taipei can reach more than 36 degrees, and there may be local short-term heavy rain in the western half of the mountainous area and near the mountainous area in the afternoon. Typhoon Yangliu continues to approach the west, and is expected to affect Taiwan from the 13th to the 14th, and is most likely to make landfall in Huadong. The Meteorological Department expects to issue a maritime typhoon warning from tonight to tomorrow morning, and a land warning around noon tomorrow, reminding that there will be long waves on the north coast, the eastern half, the Hengchun Peninsula and Matsu. From the 15th to the 17th, the weather will turn cloudy with afternoon thunder showers. The probability of storms in many counties and cities exceeds 80%, and strict precautions are required. News Focus: The Japan-Taiwan Exchange Association issued an announcement on its official website, reminding Japanese tourists to pay attention to the frequent pickpocketing cases of popular tourist attractions in Taiwan, such as night markets, Zhufen, Yongkang Street, and Taipei MRT Zhongshan Station. In addition, the announcement also reminds to prevent overseas illegal work fraud and warns the public not to trust suspicious job opportunities and avoid becoming victims of fraud. News Focus: Wang Guangxiang, chairman of Datung, recently sold shares to Zhang Ronghua, chairman of Sanli, but at the same time revealed that Guoguang Passenger Transport, which was invested by his family, owed wages for the second time in half a year, which attracted attention. Wang Guangxiang said frankly that Guoguang Passenger Transport's southern route suffered serious losses, and will fully focus on the northern route, and plans to suspend 14 loss-making routes, raise freight rates, sell assets to improve finances, and strive to turn losses into profits by the end of 2025. In recent years, due to the rise of high-speed rail and the impact of the epidemic, Guoguang Passenger Transport has lost money and liabilities of more than 2 billion yuan for consecutive years. The company is chaired by its eldest daughter Wang Yichuan, and the family holds more than 24% of the shares. News Focus: Physician Huang Xian reminded that the cheap price of socks may hide the risk of poisonous socks, which are divided into 4 categories to pay attention to. First, there is a pungent plastic smell and may contain carcinogenic aromatic amine dyes. Second, the color will fade after washing once, and the dye contains heavy metals or azo dyes to affect endocrine. Third, the sock cuff is too tight, which compresses blood vessels and increases the risk of varicose veins and thrombosis. Fourth, cheap socks may contain formaldehyde, and long-term exposure is associated with cancers such as leukemia. When purchasing, you should choose brands that are formaldehyde-free and azo dye-free, and wash them first to avoid chemical residues, especially infants and people with sensitive constitutions. Good socks are the first line of defense for health. News Focus: 73-year-old Mr. Chen was accustomed to drinking grain powder containing added sugar and creamer for breakfast, which caused his blood sugar to rise from prediabetes and even affected his health. Doctors pointed out that most commercially available grains are foods with a high glycemic index, which can easily cause blood sugar spikes and are not suitable for people with prediabetes or poor blood sugar control. Adjusting his diet and taking oral GLP-1 weight loss drugs, Mr. Chen successfully lost weight and improved his blood sugar within 3 months. Doctors remind that weight loss is not only a form of appearance, but also a long-term health investment in the prevention of chronic diseases, and it is recommended to seek professional guidance and establish correct diet and lifestyle habits. News Focus: Su Nailan was originally scheduled to hold a wedding for his youngest son Su Tingyong in September last year, but it was postponed due to the poor health of the daughter-in-law's mother. Recently, he took his wife and flight attendant Wang Jialian to the United States to reunite with his son, and revealed on the show that he was afraid of his wife, and the family's finances were all taken care of by his wife. The two have been married for 36 years and have a deep relationship. Su Nailan said that every time he quarrels in the Cold War, he bows his head first, and there was a 3-month Cold War that he could not be contacted, which made him feel uncomfortable. Wang Jialian was jealous and strictly controlled, which made Su Nailan laugh and say that he had never had a scandal, but he was afraid that his wife would be angry. News Focus: Prato, Italy, is the largest textile manufacturing center in Europe, but due to the rampant Chinese immigration factories and gang forces, it has become a battlefield of the Hanger War. A large number of illegal workers work in harsh conditions, gangs control the transportation and manufacturing chains, involve crimes such as gambling and drug trafficking, and conflicts are frequent. Although the Italian government has set up a team to combat illegal labor, the results have been limited due to language barriers and slow justice. This phenomenon not only threatens the local rule of law but also damages the image of Made in Italy, reflecting the industrial and social challenges brought about by globalization. News-focused Typhoon Yangliu is in the southwest, and is expected to make landfall from South Hualien at noon on the 13th, affecting the east of Huadong and the south of Chi the most. The typhoon accelerated and affected the time earlier, with the main rainfall concentrated from late night on the 12th to the 13th. Due to the small typhoon circulation, the strong winds are mainly concentrated near the eye wall, and the wind around the landing site is strong, especially in South Hualien and Huadong. After the typhoon, the weather stabilized on the 14th and turned into a summer afternoon thunderstorm. News Focus U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said the U.S. may cut reciprocal tariffs due to improved trade imbalances and expects to complete negotiations with countries that have not reached an agreement by the end of October. He likened tariffs to melting ice, suggesting that tariffs are expected to decrease in the future. The Trump administration used tariffs to restructure the current account deficit and use it to put pressure on China, Russia, and other countries, especially in response to China's non-market economies and overcapacity, as well as imposing high tariffs on India's purchases of Russian oil, using tariffs as a means of diplomacy and protecting American industries. News Focus in the first half of this year, the transaction volume of the housing market decreased sharply, resulting in a sharp decline in the performance of real estate brokers. According to a survey by the National Federation of Real Estate Agents, nearly 40% of real estate agents have declined by more than 60%, 37.2% consider changing jobs, and 1 in 2.68 people want to leave the real estate industry. More than half of the respondents expect to close their stores in the future, and only about 9% plan to continue to open their stores. Those who want to change jobs choose catering, 45.1%, travel, 26.2%, and delivery, 24.3%. Wang Ruqi, chairman of the National Federation of Real Estate Agents, pointed out that the sharp decline in transaction volume and the surge in the number of members have led to fierce competition among practitioners and a great increase in survival pressure. News Focus: a 5-year-old boy was suspected of being bitten by a poisonous snake turtle shell flower in a large community playroom in Zhongzheng District, Keelung City, and the boy had wounds on his left and right ankles and cried bitterly. The fire brigade was reported to arrive, and immediately carried out initial treatment and was sent to Keelung Chonggung Hospital for serum injection, but fortunately the injuries were not serious. The fire brigade reminds that summer is the active season for snakes, and you should be vigilant and pay attention to safety when going to hillsides or adjacent areas. News Focus: Zhang Lian, a former member of the Kuomintang Kaohsiung City Council, was accused of fraudulently receiving assistant fees by underpaying and over-reporting head assistants since 2010, earning a total of 13.3 million yuan over 10 years to pay credit cards and party fees. In the first instance, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison and 6 years of deprivation of public power for the crime of using his position to fraudulently obtain property. After the appeal, the Kaohsiung High Court upheld the original verdict. His sister Zhang Lihong was sentenced to 4 years and 4 months, and the secretary surnamed Cao was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months, and the whole case can still be appealed. News Focus: People's Party Chairman Huang Qiuaqing made a decision at the National Congress on the 2-year clause for non-district legislators, including 7 of them until January 31, 2026, and Liu Xiuban until March 2027. In an interview today, Huang Qiuaqing positively stated that he would participate in the 2026 New Taipei mayoral election, emphasizing that he would make himself the best option, and hoped that the opposition camp would jointly promote the strongest candidate to avoid division and benefit the DPP fishermen. News Focus: TSMC will hold a board meeting in Nank on the 11th and 12th, in addition to discussing capital budgets and dividends. The recent 2nm technology leak case and the $200 billion investment announced by former US President Trump will be the focus. The leak case involves Japanese businessmen. TSMC has punished the employees involved and taken legal action, and the board of directors will explain the facts of the case. It will also pay attention to the scale of investment in the United States and the impact of the 100% tariff policy imposed by the United States on imported semiconductors. News Focus: today and tomorrow, 11th and 12th, the moisture will increase slightly, and there will be sporadic short-term showers from early morning to morning along the central coast and in the south, and local thunderstorms in the western half, northeast and mountainous areas in the afternoon, and short-term heavy rain in the western half of the mountainous areas cannot be ruled out today. The north and east are first affected by strong winds and heavy rain, and the whole Taiwan will be affected in the afternoon. News Focus: former People's Party Chairman Kei Wen's was detained for nearly a year in the Jinghua City and political donation case, and the internet celebrity Four-Pronged Cat broke the news that his political donation account was spent from 60.34 million yuan by the current chairman Huang Qiuaqing to 28 million yuan, questioning the inappropriateness of giving priority to Kei's money. The post triggered Xiaoko to ask him to disclose his personal income first, and the four-pronged cat immediately released YouTube background data showing an annual income of about 1.28 million yuan, emphasizing that all income was legally filed and invoiced, and the other party was shaken up first and then announced more. News focus: a violent incident occurred in a convenience store in Taichung on the 10th. A woman surnamed Zhang lost control of her emotions after drinking, threw money at the counter at the checkout and asked to pack it, was rejected by the clerk and angrily threw the bottle of red wine, causing the bottle to break and cut the clerk, and also shook beer and sprayed it at the clerk. She later came to the case and said that she was in a bad mood and drank too much slippery, and promised to apologize. The supermarket issued a statement emphasizing zero tolerance for violence, and has called the police and assisted the clerk with medical, psychological, and legal support, and the police will be held accountable in accordance with the law. News focus: in the battle between the Rangers and the Phillies, there were two consecutive difficult tricks in the top of the second inning. First, the Phillies hit a deep fly ball to center right field and Garcia and Langford were in place almost at the same time, and finally Langford slid it through, and even the photographer was misled. The ball had a catch rate of just 45%, and he sprinted 75 feet in 4.2 seconds. Garcia then slid and missed the right field line, and the ball bounced 3 times and was caught empty-handed, completing a circus-style defense, which made the audience scream. News focus: Soda Green's 20 Years and One Moment tour finally stopped at the Kaohsiung Dome, and Ching Feng humorously proposed if you are uncomfortable, you can get a half-price refund after the third song, amusing the audience. Although Xinyi's throat inflammation improved slightly, she still sang You Are Written in My Song with Ching Feng. Ching Feng saw that many fans were present for 2 consecutive days, laughing that his acting career had entered the cunning stage and encouraged him to buy more tickets to prepare for retirement. The interaction on the stage continued, and Ching Feng repeatedly complained about the group members, including Jia Kai ordering oolong, afu fafu, etc., changing the lyrics of Little Love Song to joke, and emotionally saying that the tour would come to an end, such as You Can Retire. News focus: due to a rental dispute between the Kaohsiung Japanese restaurant Higuchi Rice Ball and the landlady surnamed Xiao, the Higuchi couple moved out of the original store on Qinghai Road and moved to Zhouying Station and Gushan Kuwa Road to continue operating. Zhang Nu, Higuchi's wife, yesterday in Threads although the contract has been terminated for half a month, the third party confirmed that it was no different when handing it over, but the landlord insisted on changing the mattress for many years, and even intimidated and pressured him. She emphasized that she worked hard, questioned whether the landlord's behavior was fraudulent, and revealed that she was accused and ran to the police station to make a record. Ms. Zhang decided not to remain silent anymore, calling on everyone to be wary of evil landlords, take legal means to protect their rights and interests, and express that tolerance is not cowardice. News focus: former Phoenix TV female anchor Lu Haruo was seriously injured and comatose in a train derailment accident in the UK 23 years ago, and was once sentenced to brain death. After rehabilitation, short-term memory damage and blood sugar problems caused by brain damage, and life was not easy. Writer Wang Wenjing recently visited Lu Haruo, who moved to Tomsui, and lamented the preciousness of health. Although Lu Haruo faced physical and memory challenges, he continued to spend healing time with his family and old friends. News focus: in 2022, Daniela, a 38-year-old woman from New Mexico, USA, fell into a deep coma due to an accident, and her family signed an organ donation consent form. Before the operation, she was able to follow the doctor's instructions and blink and shed tears, showing signs of life. The organ donation agency staff insisted that the doctor inject morphine to continue to remove the organ, but the surgeon firmly refused and stopped the operation to save Daniela's life. Afterwards, the senior nurse criticized the donor for being aggressive, the institution denied the allegations, and the hospital has launched an investigation. Daniela is now fully recovered. News focus: according to the Wall Street Journal, Intel CEO Chen Liu will visit the White House on Monday to have a dialogue with U.S. President Trump to discuss his personal background and cooperation between Intel and the U.S. government. Trump called for Chen Liu's resignation last week, questioning his conflicting relationships with Chinese companies and doubting his transformation plans. Chen Liu expressed support for Trump's determination to promote U.S. national and economic security. Previously, Reuters revealed that Chen Liu had invested more than $200 million in a number of advanced manufacturing and military-related companies in China, and his predecessor, Yuhua Computer, had sold products to China Military University, which pleaded guilty in July and paid more than $140 million in fines. News focus: a 25-year study found that super elderly people over 80 years old but have memories similar to those of 50 or 60 years old, have larger entorhinal neurons in their brains, and have fewer tau protein entanglements. Research points out that genes and active socialization are the keys to longevity and memory preservation. The 85-year-old super old man Yokli loves life, participates in many activities, and has a memory comparable to that of a young man. The study, published by Northwestern University in the United States, challenges existing Alzheimer's disease treatment strategies based on beta-amyloid scavenging. News focus: Wuzhongxian's artist Haikan, Lu Whiting, was defrauded of 120,000 yuan by a friend, who repaid the loan first and then disappeared in the name of purchasing agents, and also deceived others in the circle, with an amount of even 1 million. In order to cover the mortgage and living expenses, Hyken worked in restaurants, construction sites, and TV stations, and was invited to help as a man in black but declined. He lamented that he couldn't even collect his debts, but he was optimistic and donated part of the income from his part-time job to charity. Hyken thanked Wu Zongxian and his seniors in the circle for their support, saying, "This circle can't drive you away." News Focus actress Albi, Fan Yifei, was criticized for being involved in the love triangle controversy between He Long and his late ex-girlfriend Tian Zhan, and posted without warning today, 10th, encouraging the misunderstood person to be upright and not afraid of the shadow. She said that when encountering misunderstandings, you should first introspect, but if the other party is stubborn and prejudiced, the truth will be difficult to accept. Albi responded humorously, "Then do I deserve to be misunderstood?" The answer is yes, and encourages everyone to focus on managing their own lives, cherish healthy and beautiful people and things, believe that misunderstandings can lead to growth, and finally quote Sherlock Holmes' famous quote, emphasizing that the truth will eventually appear. News Focus Hong Kong actress Cai Xiaofen and her husband Zhang Jin have been married for many years and have a stable relationship. Zhang Jin suffered a heart attack while traveling abroad in April this year, and although he was only about 10 meters away from Cai Xiaofen, he was unable to call for help and almost died. After returning to Hong Kong, he underwent heart stent surgery, and doctors warned that if left untreated, his life would be in danger. After experiencing the test of life and death, the couple decided to put their health first and adjust their work plans, and Cai Xiaofen reduced her work to focus on her family. Zhang Jin has been filming action scenes for many years, and there are many old injuries on his body, which also makes the outside world pay attention to his health. News Focus senior artist Sun Peng and De Ying's grandson Anzuo broke out in a conflict with Judge Han Sen on the reality show Boxing Wish Star last year and was injured in a boxing match. The recently exposed new battle video was actually recorded in May this year. Sun Anzuo defeated Taiwan Darius in the second season of the competition, and the other party said that the concession was due to fear of breaking the face. Sun Anzuo has decided to retire due to poor form and will be transferred to a full-time gym coach, and is expected to officially start work in August and enter the fixed workplace for the first time. News Focus children of Cancer, Libra, Sagittarius, and Pisces are born to bring happiness and blessings. Cancer is gentle and sensitive, good at taking care of family and creating a warm atmosphere. Libra is good at communication and mediation to create a harmonious environment. Sagittarius is energetic, optimistic, and cheerful, and is a source of happiness. Pisces are highly empathetic, can comfort others and be an emotional pillar. The children of these four zodiac signs not only fill the family with laughter, but also repay the efforts of their parents, bringing endless happiness and wealth. News Focus Mars enters Libra this week, bringing opportunities to become popular, but be careful of surprises and emotional control. Air signs form a grand triangle and a kite grid, and interpersonal and political issues emerge. Mercury goes direct to improve communication, making it more receptive to different voices. Water and fire 60 degrees promote cooperation in alliances. Taurus, Virgo, Libra, and Pisces need to pay attention to communication and emotional management. Gemini, Cancer, Scorpio, and Aquarius are suitable for low-key collaboration and performance. Aries, Lions, Sagittarius, and Capricorns have opportunities for expansion and networking, and each has different development priorities emotionally. News Focus in July this year, a coupling vehicle lost control and crashed in the Feng Byway Tunnel in Hsinchu County, resulting in 1 death and 1 injury. In order to prevent accidents, the Hsinchu County government and the Highway Bureau of the Ministry of Transportation decided to set up a double white solid line in the tunnel that prohibits lane changes, and violators will be fined up to 6,000 yuan. About 14,000 vehicles pass through the tunnel every day, and considering the connection of the interchange, the dotted line is still retained for lane change 400 meters in front of the tunnel entrance, and warning signs are added. The police remind drivers to abide by the regulations and ensure driving safety. News Focus: the number of street people in the United States has surged, and former President Trump announced on social platforms that he will remove homeless people in Washington, D.C., vowing to restore safety to the Capitol. The move stemmed from security concerns when 19-year-old former Trump administration member Corey Stein was beaten and seriously injured by 8 teenagers. Trump announced that he would hold a press conference at the White House, asking the homeless to be evacuated and resettled away from the Capitol, and the criminals would be sent directly to prison. He will advance rapidly and will no longer be a good gentleman, with the goal of regaining order and security in the Capitol. News Focus: former employees of the well-known internet celebrity Bin Bingo accused him of doing public welfare to gain fame, and also instigated employees to fake and smear fellow internet celebrity Hannah, and even asked employees to hint that Hannah was causing trouble, causing Hannah to be scolded by netizens. The recording revealed that Bingo instructed to kill them in the meeting, and the former employee criticized Bingo for only caring about his popularity and not taking care of the case sincerely. Hannah responded that public welfare should be a gathering of people and should not be threatened, and emphasized that she should not be the only one who can do good deeds, and called for mutual support. News focus: a fatal car accident occurred in Baitun District, Taichung City on the morning of the 11th, when a 67-year-old man surnamed Ye was riding a motorcycle through the intersection of Kong 6th Road and Renping Street. He was hit head-on by a car, sprayed to the ground on the spot, and was still pronounced dead after being sent to the hospital. The car involved in the accident was carrying 4 men and 1 woman, all of whom abandoned the car and fled after the accident, and the police are pursuing the whereabouts of 5 people. There was no signal at the intersection where the incident occurred, and the monitor showed that the car was suspected of not slowing down, and the motorcycle rider did not have time to brake and collided. The owner said the vehicle was borrowed and unaware of the accident, and the police continued to investigate the cause of the accident. News focus: Nvidia and AMD agreed to hand over 15% of Chinese sales revenue to the US government in order to obtain US permission to export chips to China. This arrangement is a special measure promoted by the Trump administration to boost domestic employment and revenue through export controls. Nvidia's H20 chip and AMD MI308 chip were approved for export to China, but the move raised security concerns, with critics worried that it would help the Chinese military develop and weaken the US AI advantage. Analysts estimate that Nvidia's revenue in China this year is about $23 billion. The initiative has raised questions from the outside world, and former US officials have criticized the export license as a revenue-generating tool. News focus: Taiwan stocks were driven by TSMC's intraday red on the 11th, and the index hit a new high of 24,154 points this year, and the robot community rose sharply due to the theme of the 2025 Robot and Intelligent Automation Exhibition. Hongjian and Advanced Light have risen to the limit, and Yujia has climbed to a 9-month high. Hongjian actively deploys AI humanoid robots and American manufacturing strategies, and the stock price is strong. Advanced Optics benefited from orders from major American manufacturers, and revenue continued to grow. Yujia has seen an increase in annual revenue due to early pulling of goods and the commissioning of new production capacity, and robot and drone products have continued to advance, and the overall group has become the focus of Taiwan stocks in the near future. News focus: the housing market continued to be sluggish, and the performance of real estate agents fell sharply. According to a survey by the National Federation of Real Estate Agents, in the first half of this year, about 23% of the industry declined by more than 60%, more than 10% or even 80%, and 37% of the industry considered changing jobs, and the pressure on non-chain brands was greater. The sharp decline in performance was mainly affected by central bank credit controls and US tariffs, and the trading volume hit a new low since 2018. Wang Ruqi, chairman of the National Federation, called on the Taiwan authorities to relax controls to avoid damage to the livelihoods of more than 100,000 employees, and to pay attention to the survival of non-chain real estate agents. News focus: the United States imposed a 20% tariff on Taiwan's machine tool industry, which had a heavy impact. Huang Minghe, chairman of Taichung Precision Machinery, said that this is the most severe challenge in his more than 40 years of industrial career, and the industry is facing a triple blow of unpaid leave, loss of orders and domestic downstream shrinking. The appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar and the uncertainty of tariffs have led to the intensification of losses in machine tool orders with long delivery times, and small cooperative factories may break the chain. Taichung Precision Machinery has transformed into semiconductors, aerospace, and other fields, and its operations have rebounded this year, but the overall industry is still severe. News focus: Taipei's high housing prices continue to promote population migration, and Darwin has become the new favorite of the BPIO people. Darwin has a population of nearly 2.35 million, only about 100,000 less than Taipei, and is growing rapidly. In the first half of this year, 33,000 people moved out of Taipei, most of whom moved to Darwin and New Taipei, mainly because Darwin's housing prices are close to the people, transportation is convenient, and it is convenient to save money with T-Pass commuter passes. Darwin is actively developing industry and construction, improving employment and living functions, attracting a large number of people, and reshaping the urban pattern of the North. With the improvement of the transportation network, the demographic structure of the North will continue to change. News focus: US President Donald Trump announced that he will hold talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15 to promote a peace agreement on the Russia-Ukraine war, which may include a controversial territorial exchange plan. This is the first official meeting between the heads of state of the United States and Russia since the Biden and Putin Geneva summit in 2021. The talks will be mainly bilateral talks, and Trump said that he may have a tripartite meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after the meeting, but Ukraine firmly opposes the cession of territory. The negotiations also covered security guarantees, freezing Russian assets and restrictions on Western military aid. The EU is worried about the marginalization of Ukraine and fears that Russia will use negotiations to delay the war. Trump's summit is seen as an important turning point in US-Russia relations and the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and the international community is paying great attention to its results. News focus: Yan Adi, chief writer of the Harvard Business Review, pointed out that Trump's policies are capricious, bring extreme uncertainty, promote transactional nationalism to weaken globalization, and exacerbate the risk of economic decoupling between China and the United States. At the same time, AI technology is growing at an exponential rate, penetrating various industries, affecting everything from daily work to strategy formulation. Business leaders must actively embrace change and master AI development in order to remain competitive in the turmoil and transform into a necessary issue. News focus: Typhoon Yangliu continues to approach, and the Central Meteorological Administration is expected to issue a maritime typhoon warning late at night on the 12th, a land warning at noon on the 13th, and quickly leave Taiwan after landing in Huadong on the 13th. The wind and rain were the strongest on the day of landfall, with local heavy rain in the eastern half and the mountainous areas of southern Taiwan, accompanied by strong winds. After the typhoon left, there were still strong winds and heavy rain in southern Taiwan, and the impact weakened on the 14th, and the summer weather resumed on the 15th. The public should be prepared to defend Taiwan and pay attention to the latest meteorological warnings. News focus: People's Party Chairman Huang Qiuqing announced that he would maintain the 2-year clause, and the current 8 non-district legislators, except for the new Liu Shubin, will resign at the end of January next year and be replaced by a waiting list. The focus is on whether Li Zhengzhu, the 15th-ranked middle match, can be replaced. Minister of the Interior Liu Shifang said that according to the provisions of the nationality law, those who have foreign nationality must complete the renunciation procedure before taking office or within 1 year of taking office. If Li Zhengzhu is replaced, he must renounce his nationality in accordance with the regulations of the Chinese government. Liu Shifang stressed that the two sides of the strait are not subordinate to each other, but the Republic of China recognizes the People's Republic of China, and relevant official documents have legal effect. News focus: The new Taipei City Environmental Protection Bureau announced the recruitment of recruitment/contract personnel in the second half of 2014, which will recruit 175 inspectors and open online registration from August 20 to September 12. The recruitment includes about 137 employees and 38 inspectors, with starting salaries of about 34,775 yuan and 45,624 yuan respectively. The exam will be held on October 18, and the written test and the oral test will be completed on the same day, and the subjects will be designed according to different positions, and free exam questions will be provided to download. Admitted candidates enjoy incentives and benefits, and can be counted as civil servants in the future. The Environmental Protection Bureau hopes to attract enthusiastic people to join and jointly protect the environmental quality of New Taipei. News focus: A serious car accident occurred in Baitun District, Taichung City this morning, where a black car collided with a motorcycle, causing a motorcyclist in his 60s to die from serious injuries. At the time of the accident, at least 5 people in the car fled the scene en masse. The police notified the owner of the car to come to the case, and the owner said that the vehicle was lent to a friend to drive, and after investigation, the driver who caused the accident was a foreign migrant worker and had been brought back for interrogation. The police are clarifying the motive for the hit and run and whether it involved drunk driving, and the investigation is ongoing. News focus: Artist He Yuan pays attention to vegetarian food, yoga, and health preservation, but she was quite surprised to find 2 hyperplastic colon polyps during a health checkup at the age of 40. Doctors pointed out that colorectal polyps are closely related to family genetics, age, sedentary and eating habits, especially love of red meat, high fat, and barbecue and fried foods that can easily increase the risk, lack of fruits and vegetables, insufficient water intake, and smoking and drinking can also stimulate abnormal intestinal hyperplasia. Colorectal polyps are divided into hyperplasia, inflammatory and adenomatous types, and adenomatous types have a higher risk of cancer. It is recommended that those over 40 years old, especially those with a family history, should be screened regularly and develop exercise habits. News focus: The latest border inspection by the Food and Drug Administration found that 2 batches of Chinese cabbage imported from Vietnam had residues of the pesticide sisuen exceeding the standard, with a content of 1.7 ppm, exceeding the legal 1.0 ppm standard, and had been required to be returned or destroyed, and did not enter the market. Sisuen is a nicotine insecticide that has been banned by the European Union and still restricted in Taiwan. The Food and Drug Administration reminds traders to step up inspections. Consumers should choose reputable channels and wash vegetables thoroughly, and pay attention to pesticide residues in high-risk vegetables and soups to maintain food safety. News focus: Taichung Mayor Liu Zhihou intended to be cautious in the face of the Kuomintang leadership election. Although many parties in the party urged her to run for election, Liu insisted on municipal work and did not want to be labeled as a running mayor, so he decided to postpone it until the second wave of 823 recall before expressing his position. The current party leader, Zhu Liluan, has repeatedly expressed his willingness to hand over the baton and arranged the election schedule to give Liu plenty of room to prepare, but it is still not ruled out that if Liu is not elected, Zhu may be re-elected. The party has different views on Liu's balancing municipal affairs and party affairs, and the overall party atmosphere is delicate, and it remains to be seen whether Liu will take over as party leader. News focus: On the eve of the second wave of 823 recall voting next Saturday, the latest poll by the Taiwan Public Opinion Foundation shows that after the first wave of 726 recalls, the number of people in favor of the recall plummeted by about 2 million, while the number of disapprovers surged by more than 2.6 million, and the proportion of people opposing the recall reached 61%, leading supporters by nearly 30 percentage points. Chairman Yu Yinglong analyzed that this drastic change reflects the obvious tendency of the mainstream of society to oppose the recall, and the confrontation between the two sides has eased significantly, which has become a political consequence of the 726 recall result. The survey was conducted from August 4 to 6, covering adults over the age of 20 in Taiwan, with a valid sample of 1,079 people and a sampling error of about plus or minus 2.98%. News Focus: The People's Party's 8 non-district legislators have a 2-year clause, and the current legislators are expected to resign on January 31, 2026. Party Chairman Huang Qiuaqing made a decision to implement this clause at the Dawen Party Congress yesterday, unless former Chairman Kei Wen's had other ideas. Former legislator Guo Zhengliang believes that Huang Qiuaqing is too urgent and that Kei Wen's should be consulted first for the change of the 2-year term, and Kei may be released on bail before the end of the year, and there may be new ideas at that time. Guo also questioned the lack of practical experience in the National Assembly except for Su Zongzhen and Shen Caihan, called for a 2-year suspension of the clause, and suggested that the first instance court be broadcast live to increase the probability of Kei bail before making a decision. News Focus: During the weekend dining peak at a barbecue restaurant in Ximanding, Taipei, a man saw that there were empty seats in the store but could not be seated, and the store explained that the reservation customers had not yet arrived, and the man was dissatisfied with insisting on jumping the queue and arguing loudly, and even broke out with the customers in line. In order to maintain business order, the store called the police, and the police arrived at the scene to find that the man was drunk and incoherent, and asked him to leave the scene after persuasion. The man did not follow the queuing rules and ended up failing to eat. News Focus: American store Costco has adopted a conservative expansion strategy for the past 40 years, but in recent years it has actively promoted digital transformation and formed a team of engineers. The annual salary of software engineers ranges from $130,000 to $215,000, about NT $3.89 million to NT $6.43 million, and the annual salary of data scientists reaches $225,000, about NT $6.73 million. Chief Financial Officer Miller Chip said that digitalization can provide a more personalized experience for members, saving time and money. Costco plans to set up its first technology center in India, initially employing 1,000 employees, and continues to recruit technology talents in the United States, with 53 IT vacancies currently available. News Focus: Lung cancer in Taiwan continues to rank first in cancer incidence, and there is a trend of younger people. A 30-year-old female teacher was diagnosed with end-stage lung adenocarcinoma due to neglect of lung nodules found in the health examination, delaying medical treatment, and the tumor had spread to both lungs and brain. Physician Wei's Highway reminded that the size and appearance of lung nodules are key indicators to judge benign and malignant. Less than 0.5 centimeters and 2 years of no change are mostly benign. On the contrary, nodules continue to grow or show abnormal forms such as ground glass and blurred edges, and they need to be biopsied as soon as possible, and the importance of early detection should not be underestimated. News Focus: Recently, some people mistakenly clicked on the voting link sent by a Line friend and entered their account password and was stolen. Fortunately, the latest version of Line has launched a sign in again function, which can quickly retrieve the account and forcibly cancel the thief by binding a phone number or Apple ID and other verification. The National Police Department of the Ministry of the Interior reminds you not to provide account passwords and authentication codes to strangers, and do not delete the Line app to avoid losing conversation records and not being able to use the login again function. News Focus: Yan Huai, the father of Yan Qingbiao, chairman of Taichung Dajiajianlan Palace, passed away at the age of 92. A farewell ceremony will be held today, 11th, at Shalo Ancestral House, which is expected to be attended by about 3,000 people, including Taichung Mayor Liu Zaihuan, Legislative Yuan President Han Kuo-yu, Vice President Zhang Qichen, People's Party Chairman Huang Qiuaqing and other political and business dignitaries. The Qingshui Police Branch mobilized more than 100 police officers to maintain security and control the area around Justice Road. After Yan Huai's body is cremated, the tablet will be set in the ancestral house, with many family members and 4 generations of descendants living together, and the scene is solemn and solemn. News Focus: When the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force frigate Lianjiao was on a mission off the coast of Zhejiang Province on July 4 last year, it mistakenly entered China's territorial waters because the navigation electronic nautical chart did not switch the territorial sea boundary display. The Chinese People's Liberation Army immediately fired warning shots with 2 shells, and the ship withdrew after staying in Chinese territorial waters for about 20 minutes, and the 2 sides were in a state of high tension for a while. Fortunately, the shells did not hit the hull, there were no casualties, and it did not cause a more serious conflict. This incident is rare and shows that the situation on both sides is imminent. News Focus: Japanese actor Ken Sato is the producer and starring in the Netflix Japanese drama Heart of Glass, which made a surprise appearance when he held a joint event at a cafe in Omotesando a few days ago. Ken Sato personally tasted drinks and ramen, interacted with fans, and even made video calls to comfort fans' families, showing kindness. When the store was full, he politely dined at the table and quietly paid for all the guests, which surprised everyone, and the scene was full of applause and cheers, and the atmosphere was warm. News Focus mainland artist Huang Zidao registered his marriage with Su Yiyang in December last year, and recently revealed that he will hold a grand wedding in October this year, preparing for half a year, planning to invite more than 100 fans and reserve seats, and the wedding may be broadcast live throughout the process. The outside world is concerned about whether the former EXO members will attend, especially Liu Han, who is closely related to Huang Zidao, and the probability of attendance is high. There were also rumors that the two had a secret child, but it was not confirmed by both parties. News Focus on July 4, 2024, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force frigate Suzutsuki mistakenly entered China's territorial waters because the electronic chart did not correctly display the territorial sea boundary while carrying out a mission to monitor China's military exercises off the coast of Zhejiang province. After China's repeated radio warnings failed, it fired 2 shells to warn it, and the ship stayed in territorial waters for about 20 minutes before leaving. Although the shells did not cause damage, the situation at sea between the two sides was tense at that time, and it was close to a misfire. News Focus Taichung No. 2 Middle School experienced an abnormal power outage in the power system at around 1 a.m. on the 11th, resulting in a power outage for the whole school. The loud noise when the diesel generator started made some students mistakenly think it was an explosion and fled the dormitory in panic. The school urgently announced the suspension of classes on the same day and assisted the boarding students to return home or settle them for rest on campus. The suspension is for summer tutoring and retake courses in the 2nd and 3rd years of high school. The school said that the power outage is suspected to be caused by small animals entering the power system, and it is currently undergoing a comprehensive overhaul, and the follow-up courses will be adjusted according to the repair progress. News Focus Tan Dunsai, a nurse at Lingkao Chonggung, recommends exercising at least 5 minutes a day to gradually develop regular exercise habits, and emphasizes that the diet of the elderly should be based on the principle of being able to eat, not excessively light, but can make good use of natural spices to increase appetite and consume enough protein to maintain muscle and bones. She pointed out that drinking soup is not as nutritious as eating meat, and in terms of disaster prevention, she reminded not to hide in the bathroom in case of fire, and donated a fire brigade life-saving device to improve the safety of frontline disaster relief personnel, advocating a mature life that pays equal attention to exercise, nutrition and disaster prevention. News Focus Small granulation on the skin is mostly benign soft fiber tumors, which are commonly found in the neck, armpits, eyelids, and other creases, and are associated with obesity, diabetes, and hormonal changes. Other types include syringoma, milia, seborrheic keratosis, age spots, and flat warts, which are associated with syringiohyperplasia, abnormal oil metabolism, UV exposure, or viral infection, respectively. If the granulation increases rapidly, darkens, bleeds, or grows in non-prone areas in a short period of time, you should be alert to the possibility of cancer and seek medical attention as soon as possible. Daily weight control, balanced diet, sun protection, and personal hygiene. News Focus A study by the University of Washington found that cold herpes virus, HSV1, infection may be associated with the onset of Alzheimer's disease. Analysis of more than 340,000 case control data showed that Alzheimer's patients were 80% more likely to be diagnosed with HSV1 infection. Among infected people, those who used anti-herpes drugs had a 17% lower risk of disease than those who did not take them, indicating that antiviral therapy may have a protective effect. Others such as HSV2 and varicella-zoster virus are also associated with increased risk. Studies speculate that virus-induced brain inflammation and A-beta protein deposition may be important mechanisms in the disease process. News Focus The well-known artist Shen Yulin suffered from leukemia and temporarily left the screen to concentrate on treatment. Director Zhang Jiaming of Taipei Rongzone pointed out that leukemia is mostly caused by hematopoietic stem cell mutations, which is related to aging, chronic inflammation, environmental toxins and stress, and symptoms such as fatigue, easy bruising, and bleeding gums may appear in the early stages. CHIP mutations can be detected in the blood of some adults over 50 years of age, which is not cancer but may further evolve into blood cancer. Prevention focuses on anti-inflammatory diet, regular exercise, adequate sleep, emotional management, and reducing toxin exposure, and genetic testing is recommended for early detection in high-risk groups. News Focus The Saigon Kite Festival attracted more than 100,000 people last weekend, and the shipping and traffic pressure was like the Chinese New Year. The number of people on the boat reached 71,540 in 2 days, and although the ferry company increased to 6 boats in every 5 minutes, it was still difficult to relieve the queue. The road was so congested that residents even went around more than 20 times to find a parking space. The Tourism Bureau called for a change to public transportation and planned a 4-stage traffic control. The event will continue next week, and if the transportation is not improved, it may cause public resentment again. News focus: Miss Lee, 50, from Daewon, runs a motorcycle shop and has been a volunteer for many years, considers herself healthy, participates in the city's free low-dose computed tomography lung cancer screening, accidentally finds abnormalities, diagnoses the first stage of lung adenocarcinoma and has timely surgery, and recovers well after surgery. She reminded people who have been exposed to air pollution or occupational hazards for a long time to pay attention to the risk of lung cancer and take the initiative to check. The Daewon Municipal Health Bureau has tested 50,000 high-risk groups and identified 264 lung cancer patients, of which 92% were diagnosed early, effectively saving lives and family happiness. News focus: Shen Yulin recently confirmed that she had blood cancer, which attracted attention from the outside world. Ji Zeon, the son of Frog Prince Gao Lingfeng, said in an interview on the 10th that he had seen the news, but believed that the family needed time and space the most at this time, so he did not ask about the details, and only wished Shen a speedy recovery and continued to bring joy. Gao Lingfeng was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia at the end of 2012, underwent 3 chemotherapy treatments within 72 days, and finally died in 2014 at the age of 63 due to deterioration of his condition. Ji Zeon was only 16 years old at the time, and now recalls his father, revealing that he usually listens to his father's songs and hopes to sing on important occasions in the future. News focus: Hong Kong actress Lee Lichen debuted for more than 40 years and has become a generation of goddesses with works such as Happy Ghost series and When the Peach is Ripe. Although she has not had many works in recent years and has attracted attention because of her out-of-shape appearance, she recently opened an account on Zaya Hongshu and shared videos, with black shiny medium-length hair and a slim dress showing slender curves and firm skin, which is an amazing condition. The 60-year-old has been praised by netizens for her pure desire-sealing and ageless appearance. Lee Lichen has been shortlisted for the Hong Kong Film Awards many times and won the 36th Golden Horse Film Queen, and in recent years she has been recognized again with Drifting in Turbid Water, and the outside world is looking forward to her return to the big screen. News focus: Chu Zhenghong, a famous weight loss doctor, recently found that cholesterol and bad cholesterol exceeded the standard, which was speculated to be related to his love of drinking unfiltered coffee, so he launched a filter paper coffee experiment. Without changing his diet and exercise habits, he switched to filtering coffee with filter paper, and after a month, his bad cholesterol dropped from 131 to 121 mg/dl, successfully breaking away from the red letter. He pointed out that cafe stol and coffee bean alcohol in coffee can raise cholesterol, which can be filtered out by 95% using filter paper. In addition, he recommends eating less saturated and trans fats, consuming more omega-3 and dietary fiber, and supplementing whey protein, which are all scientifically proven ways to lower cholesterol. News focus: Dandan Burger, known as the fast food Nanbation, has 44 branches in the south and is loved by locals and tourists. However, the 40-year-old Ganghi store recently announced that it would close on August 31st, causing reluctance and shock among regular customers. Many people recall the bits and pieces from snacks to starting a family, and find it difficult to accept the disappearance of this store that has been with them for many years. According to people familiar with the matter, because the boss was old and had not found a successor, he finally decided to retire and turn off the lights, so that this representative old restaurant of fast food in the south resigned in a regretful way. News focus: Golden Song singer Eason Chan admitted that he had been suffering from anxiety for many years, and made public the emotional breakdown for the first time in the documentary, revealing that he even wanted to stop acting because of anxiety about the condition of his singing and vocal cords. Psychiatrist Yang Kongkei pointed out that anxiety disorders are neurotransmitter disorders that cannot be cured, but can be controlled with medication and psychotherapy. Patients are advised to take medication regularly, receive psychological counseling, and establish healthy lifestyle habits and support systems to help reduce recurrence. Eason Chan called for learning to accept his imperfect self and live peacefully with anxiety. News focus: 35-year-old singer Park Xiang, who joined the J-Jo team in The Voice of China and won the 5th place, died suddenly of myocardial infarction today, early morning of the 8th, at the age of 35. Park Xiang is from Tachin, Xinjiang, is the lead singer of the band, became popular with Leave the Sadness to Yourself, and has been active in Xinjiang taverns in recent years. Friends said that he has a cheerful personality and good health, and the news is shocking and reluctant. Park Xiang held a funeral on the 10th, and fans and netizens mourned him, calling him a music wizard. News focus: the first chapter of Demon Slayer the movie Infinite City Arc, Iwoza Attacks Again, was released in Taiwan and broke the box office in 2 days 110 million Taiwan dollars, setting a new record of Infinite Train breaking 100 million in 3 days in 2020, and the global box office is estimated to have exceeded 20 billion yen. However, the royalties for the original film of the original author Koyoharu Gotage are quite limited, with a maximum of about 10 million yen, about $2 million, according to Japanese regulations, and the author's take-home amount is even lower after deducting the publishing house and the agency. Despite the limited profit share of the film, The royalty income of Gotaj's comics is estimated to reach 10 billion yen, about $2 billion, plus huge revenue from ebooks, games and peripheral goods. News focus in the next 40 days, 8/7-9/22, Mars will enter Libra, which will bring internal and external contradictions, causing the 4 zodiac signs to overturn. Cancer suddenly explodes due to suppressed emotions, and the image collapses. Libra falls into indecision and becomes a patient with difficulty choosing. Capricorn may lose control of his temper or avoid conflict, losing his former stable image. Aries, on the other hand, becomes hesitant due to limited movement, and his decisive image is challenged. During this period, pay special attention to interpersonal relationships and self-adjustment.